Thank you very much. So Markus Schedensack is on stage on the next presentation. So Markus, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Hi Markus, thank you
Hi.
for joining us. Markus is Managing Director of Yukon Projects, and we're happy to have him today on stage because he will link in his lecture to this presentation of Vibhu Jain on her lecture on urban cities and urban development. So Markus will go one step deeper and will give us an insight on selected projects and transformation of cities. Markus was a former executive of ECE, the big shopping center developer in Germany, for over 11 years. Now he's, as mentioned, Managing Director of Yukon, one of the lean project manager for real estate projects and development projects in Germany. He's an architect, graduated from Weimar and Hamburg. And as Tobias mentioned, a warm welcome to the second MBA alumnus today of IREBS. Markus, the stage is yours. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you very much. So I will try to share my screen. And now I have to. So hopefully you see the right. Do you see the full screen mode?
Yeah, we can see it well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So yeah, thank you for invitation and thank you for the warm welcome. Yeah, this will be a little bit a different presentation than the ones you saw so far, because it's not coming from a research point of view or from an academic point of view. It's coming from the real life, let's say. So I brought some projects, two projects with me I want to share with you. One is from my former career at ECE, project management, and the other one is a current project I'm dealing with in Yukon Projects. So as I was introduced, I was dealing pretty much with shopping centers for more than 15 years. And until 2015, I think this was a model for ECE for over 50 years to develop pure shopping centers like this one in Istanbul. We did, I think it was opened in 2012 or something. So these very large, big shopping centers. Over the years, it became a little bit more difficult and diverse. So we added more and more some additional functions, like this one was a cultural building, front left. This one is, well, later one in China, we developed projects in China, which is a mixed-use shopping center. Behind us are office towers, and on the left side, you can't see on this image, there's a big residential part. So mixed use, let's say, one next to each other. And another project in China where we had the other parts on top, residential towers and office towers, so directly combined on one plot. And this is a German example where we combined a big retail mixed-use building in Stuttgart, where we combined a huge shopping center with more than 400 apartments on top and an office and a hotel. So pretty like a Asian development, a real urban development. So, but this was all before the crisis, of course, and the one I will go more into detail. I brought with me is in the middle of Frankfurt. It's Maizal, because I think it's quite one, let's say, important topic for the inner cities in Europe and in the Western world. The high streets, many inner cities are dying, let's say, because the retail are lacking out of customers and traffic. So the e-commerce was big challenge for these real estate assets before the pandemic, and the pandemic brought another complication to it. So the Maitzeil is the high street in Frankfurt, and the building I'm talking about is this one. It's designed by Massimiliano Fuchsas, and it was taken over by Deutsche Bank and ECE in, I think, 2015, 2016. And when we got into this project, we found something like this, empty spaces in the upper floors. As you can see, it's a shopping center up to 7 floors. And this is the 4th floor, and up from the 4th floor, it was more or less empty. So we thought, what can we do with these empty spaces? And this is what we face in many cities, also with the high streets. Of course, you can do some events to do a little point to it, but this is a one-day event or some hours, but it's not a sustainable use. So we developed a customer journey to connect this building and all levels to the public, to the high street, and then we designed a food area. We called it Foodtopia, so then the naming is part of it, and combined it with some events and a cinema, a food market, many restaurants, stuff like this. So, and when you look from the outside, this was our goal, that you see all the levels all over the daytime and nighttime. You see a lively building which is addressing to the high street. So, and this is how to enter into the building, how to enter into the spaces above, how the appearance of the shops and then the restaurants. As you can see, a big consumer electronic market is integrated, and the event space. And of course, you need a certain marketing for development like this. So for fairs and with to address tenants and so on, to attract them for the new space, for the new idea, and to find the right brands. And at the end, it looks like this, a little bit dark building, but you can see a lot of people. You can look into the building. The upper floors are all equipped and all under operations. And you enter up in the space, and the new shops are there with the new facades. And one topic next to it is, I just want to share, restrooms play a certain role in shopping centers or shopping destinations. So you can do them quite interesting, and people like them. And this is also driving traffic and connecting the building into the city. A funny aspect most of the people don't have in mind. So the funny thing is, as far as I know from my former colleagues, this shopping center, the new parts are still running well. So we got new brands into Frankfurt, into the European market. It works still well. So I think it's a sustainable redevelopment and reorganization of the space, which is also after pandemic, after financial turbulences, after inflation, still works. This is a cinema we incorporated there, which works also very nicely, and drives up to the 5th and 6th floor, and the nightlife is working with the lounges and the cafes and the bars. So what it's about this single shopping center use, to combine it with more uses, with more functions, to make it more mixed use, to address more people, to address more over a longer time, longer day and night time. This leads to a sustainable asset, let's say. But today we have some new topics, which is not so important in this project, but today it's much important. And this leads me to the next project I would like to share with you. So if this is a hardcore, let's say, retail shopping project, which we uploaded or upgraded with several uses or functions. The next project is a big urban project. It's a Siemensstadt Square in Berlin. So this is about transforming an industrial site into a modern mixed-use urban district. So we have again this topic of mixed use to bring more functions more together and not so separated. As it was designed, as you can see here, from the 1930s. So Siemensstadt was, started in end of the 19th century, and within 30 years, so they moved out of the city of Berlin, Charlottenburg. They moved to the northwest of Berlin. So in the background, where you can see the rural areas, this is where Tegel, the airport, was built later. I don't know, 30 years later. But so they moved out of the city with 700 workers, and 30 years later, 1930, there were working places and housings for 65 to 70,000 workers. So a really huge factory and industrial area. So some real images. And on the left side, you can see the headquarter of Siemens. I don't know. Okay. This one, which is 5 times bigger than the Bundeskanzleramt in Berlin. And in front, you can see the Schaltwerk Hochhaus, which is a very interesting steel construction with brick cladding. And in the back, Dynamowerk, which you can see on the left picture in the inside. So these are, let's say, the core buildings of the new development of Siemensstadt Square. When you see it in the bird view, this is a headquarter. This is the Schaltwerk Hochhaus, Dynamowerk, and so this part on the left is about the redevelopment. The part on the right is stays as it is. This was a housing that was built beginning of 20th century for the workers. So there's kind of a line dividing these two parts. And on the right side, there's one part is UNESCO Welterbe, so cultural heritage. You can see the list of architects. Maybe there are some architects in the round. They know these names, very famous from the first years in the 20th century. So let's go on. So this is where we start, and this is the development area. You can see on the left-hand side. So and it's a combination now as from development areas and production areas. So there will still production areas on this area, but not, let's say, high level industry. So and it's meant to be a mixed use campus. In different modules. And with a lot of office, housing, social entities like schools, and the bottom you can see a research and design campus and the startup campus. This is already in place in parts. It's starting here, and the old headquarter will be refurbished and reused into mainly housing, and so a lot of things are going on. And so in 2019 there was a master plan urban planning competition won by Ortner and Ortner, and as you can see, it's a much greener city development. I think what we heard in the previous discussions today about climate change, about sustainability transformation. about nature and biodiversity. All these topics play a role here for the future. But so this has started 2019. Of course, the pandemic brought a bit, let's say, slower speed to this development, but it's well ongoing, and it should be finished in 2035. So this is the final vision, let's say, how it should look like when it's finished. I personally think it will take a little bit longer, but anyway, now we are 2023 and we are working. So some parts are already in development on the urban development, let's say, a level, a zoning level. In the real project design or planning and construction level, we are working on module C, which is the starting module, which is the entrance area to the new development. And module E is what I told you before. It's about the startup areas, the research and design, the reconstruction of refurbishment and redevelopment of the Dynamowerk. So we are working on this as well, but these are very, I think, about 50 projects, 50 small projects that has to be combined and to reorganize one area after the other. On the top, the module C is a new development, is a new construction, and so I think what is important. You can see this is a Schaltwerk-Hochhaus on the left top. So the transforming of an industrial site into a high-quality, livable urban district with special focus on the open space, on sustainability, on green, and in terms of on city level, but also for the people itself in the scale of in the human scale. So this is, I think, the main focus on it. So which was addressed in the urban planning competition and answered by Ordner and Ordner with several qualities of open space. So to develop this industrial zone into a lively mixed urban district with a high quality in the public areas and the public zones. So there was also an architectural competition following the urban competition, which was won by Robert Neun Architects from Berlin for these first two buildings in this module C, as I showed you. This is a so-called Siemens Tower, a skyscraper, and an atrium building from the other side. And so this is the leading, let's say, architectural impression we want to reach with the project. And in the interior, it's quite interesting. The atrium building will be a wooden hybrid building, a wooden hybrid construction, whereas the tower will be a traditional concrete and glass construction. So, yeah, there are many goals, many objectives for the project we are following. So on a, let's say, on the overall level for the full district, but also for the single buildings, I think sustainability is one of the main drivers, main focus. So we have a carbon minimized footprint. So we try to reach less than 300 kilograms per carbon, and we want to reach neutral operations. We use 100% renewable energies, and we have a very special sustainable water management, which is quite important and interesting at this area because it's a water protected area. It's And we have, of course, a former industrial site, so we have to deal with a lot of ground and soil issues. So one big focus is on sustainability. Siemens set the goals on a very high level. And the second is the digitalization goals. So we are not following only a smart building. We want to reach a smart building quality. We also try to make a digital twin for the full campus, so a smart city. Of course, Siemens is leading in these issues, so they want to make their proof of concept in their own development, and so they have really high interest and efforts to do so. So this is quite interesting and new. So we heard in some presentations about digitalization and sustainability, and in this project we really try to bring this into reality, into real life. So and another thing which is quite new on the market, and we are specialized in at Yukon Projects, is we do this project with a multi-party contract in a so-called IPD, integrated project delivery. So in this setup, we negotiate one contract with a client, with a construction company, with the designers, with the main partners. We need to design and construct this building, and we do this before we design this building. We have the let's say the objectives from and demands from the client, and but with this team we selected the team who fits best to the goals, and with this team we design and construct together under this multi-party contract these two buildings. So this is also a very new thing in Germany, and this is I think the system addresses pretty much on high-level goals. So if you have these high-level goals with this group is, let's say, oriented on these goals. They have all one goal, and this is not, let's say, their own goal. It's a project goal to reach the project goal. So everything best for project, we call it. A very interesting setup, and it runs quite well. So this is how the buildings look currently. So we are dealing with facade greenery, the water management. I told you how water retention. Berlin is quite dry the last years, so we have to keep every drip of water on the site and use it. And we need, for the microclimate, we need a lot of green. And also in the interior, in the atrium, there will be a big green garden. And some months ago, there was the final decision on the landscaping. So we got a new partner, Greenbox. They won the competition for the greenery, and now we are dealing also with these landscaping to develop the district as it was planned. And I think I'm finishing here with the last image. So this is where we are now in planning phase. We want to start construction next year in April with this tower building and the atrium building, and so far so good.
Markus, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have some questions from the audience, and maybe one question from my side. Maybe we try to fix all questions with quick answers. So the first question, maybe really prestigious, really big projects, really linked to authorities, really complex. Maybe give us maybe the three highlights of success factors, how to deal with these projects in the project management from your experience, lean project management. What are maybe the three success factors to deal with to come out with a successful real estate product, so to say? What were your lessons from your experience of the last years of in the business?
I'm not sure what are the three. I think the first important thing is you need a lot of experience and understanding of the financial markets of the. You need to understand the clients. You need to understand the construction companies. They have big problems with the construction prices. Also, the clients have the problems; they have to pay for it. But the construction companies have the problems that they cannot bind partners and prices. So you have to. I think the ability to do a change of perspective, to understand every single need and this is very important. Also, the cities have big problems. We heard about the housing topics and so on. Housing is more or less stopped, housing developments, and we need a lot of apartments in Germany. So the cities have their needs, the investors have their needs, the construction companies have their needs. So I think to understand what's going on in the several silos, I would say, is very important. So to understand, to listen to it, and to find to listen to the arguments and to find solutions that let's say addressing all needs. That's the main thing.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's go quick through the questions from the audience. So the first question is some on commercial. The question is, have you done a return on investment over a longer period of 50 and 25 years of these mixed retail projects? This is the first question on the return on investment, the return, considering digitalization and retail markets. So first question on return on investment on these projects with a specific background.
Every single project has a specific, let's say, calculation. Of course, there's a research on it. About EC, I don't want to say numbers. I know, first of all, they are 3 years old, and second, they have to answer this. But as far as I know, as far as I understand, these projects are in the long run more sustainable, also on the financial side, for sure.
Okay. Second question is, what type of infrastructure exists or is planned for the mass transportation? Is it easily accessible to Berlin and other cities in Germany? The question on mass transportation.
So that's quite interesting, because when we try to find the budget for this project in the group I showed you, we were, let's say, out of budget from the client. So we discussed about the product and about you can see in the front of this image, you can see there's a public transport station, and in front of the or on the left-hand side from the big headquarter, there's a underground station. So we discussed with the client and skipped the underground parking of these buildings. So these two buildings with more than 40,000 square meters office space have 11 parking spaces. So everything is absolutely completely about mass transportation, public transportation in this project. So this was also one sustainability aspect, of course. There are some district garages on the site, on the big site, but they can be reduced after some years, because but in underground parking, once you have it, you have it. So this was good for the water, for the groundwater to skip it. It was good for the carbon footprint because it's fully concrete, of course, in the earth, and so on. So yeah, it's all about public transport in this project.
Okay, so Markus, last question. Maybe also a possibility to have some marketing possibilities for you. As Yukon the master developer, so the question is Yukon the master developer of Berlin and maybe also this Maizal? Last question.
No. We are not a developer. We are a project management and a coaching company. So we help clients in the first place to set up projects, these really big, complex projects as Yukon projects, big complex projects to bring them to a success in these, let's say, turbulent markets. And many projects are stopped and because of financial issues, and the construction prices. So the model we offering to coach to bring the right people together in the right moment and to coach them to a success is from our point of view a quite good answer. So we help many clients. And at the moment, it's not a model for developers, let's say, but it's for long-term asset holders. It's quite interesting, and the public sector is quite interested. So we are doing 2 or 3 big projects for the Bundesbau in Berlin. So yeah. But we are not the master developer.
Okay. Thank you, Markus, for your presentation. All the best for you. And Tobias, I think we will move to Spain now.